I have very little free time in my life, but I wanted to discuss this while I'm on the way to pick up my kid from my mother. I had a very busy day. I had jury duty, or jury selection. I wasn't selected, thank fuck. But I don't have to do that for like 3 more years. So basically today I want to start this off by describing a little bit of what I've been through in the last 3 months, to see if this can help anybody or see if anyone can relate. So 3 months ago I pretty much had my life turned upside down. It sounds so dramatic, but it really, until you've experienced it, you know, you can't even describe it. I survived and avoided discard. Now, up until 3 months ago, I had no idea about attachment styles. I knew nothing about it until the man I loved, that, you know, we were together for a year, and we're talking marriage. I thought everything was okay, but clearly it wasn't. So after a really beautiful week together, we had a joint birthday party, and sorry, I'm trying to turn. We had a joint birthday party because our birthdays are 2 days apart, and it was a beautiful time. Like, I had my friend who's a DJ come, and we all did karaoke. His friends attended, my friends attended, and then a week later, on the 4th of July, out of absolute nowhere, he said, "I don't care about you. I never cared about you." And then he just kept saying, "I've been hurt too many times. I've been hurt too many times." And this, you know, to me, just came completely out of the blue, and I was absolutely devastated, shocked. He was completely shut down, and I didn't know at the time because I didn't know about attachment styles yet. He was going through an avoidant shutdown. That being, he is a dismissive avoidant, meaning when things get too real and things get too involved, and the reality of a situation and the reality of having to accommodate someone else's needs and the relationship actually becoming real and having expectations, they panic. They don't know what to do with it. They can't really see past the honeymoon phase. Like, when it gets there, the relationship just becomes anxiety for them. So there's no love anymore, and that's the shutdown is like the final moment of panic. Like, they're just in complete survival mode. At the time I didn't know that, so he just came off as very malicious, and even now I'm still very angry about it, and I'm finding out some things that I didn't know. Like, in the beginning of the relationship, he told me that he hadn't been with anyone for 4 months, and that he went on a few dates and this girl stood him up, and like, he was really upset about it. He said, "Oh, it's her loss," and blah blah blah. And, you know, I've been through love bombing, but like, there's different iterations of love bombing, so I didn't know about this one. So basically he ended up, you know, just being super into me very quickly, like within the first date. Like, he kissed me on the first date, which I usually don't do, but I let him do it because, like, I thought we were having like a massive connection, but it was really just love bombing. So I think like a week after seeing each other, we made it official, and yeah, we were just pretty much joined at the hip. I was there every weekend. We were spending a lot of time together, talking marriage, talking future. Like, he never made me think anything otherwise about, you know, wanting me or whatever. So when he all of a sudden said, "I don't care about you and I never cared about you," like, it really took me aback. But yeah, that taught me about attachment styles, because like, I was trying to make sense out of complete nonsense. Like, when you don't know about it, like, it just seems like the person you loved is, you know, somebody completely different, and that's kind of what it is. He sort of misrepresented himself the entire relationship as someone who was securely attached. Usually, what's strange about it is that typically it's like between 4 and 8 months is when an avoidant will start to discard. But we lasted 11 months, almost 12 months. So I do think he cared. I will not accept that he didn't care. That's just not a possibility. But all this to say, like, this was a learning experience, and they say that the universe will send you the same lesson over and over until you learn it. And my God, is that fucking true. I had been through this before. It manifested in slightly different ways, but pretty much every man I've been with has been an avoidant one way or another. This time just happened to be the most like blatant and in my face discard. So like I had to acknowledge what was going on and make sense of this for my own closure, because I realized he wasn't going to give me that closure. So yeah, I had to do a lot of internal work. You know, I spent the first month or so just trying to figure him out, and like that's when I learned about attachment styles and avoidance and all that. But then after that, I flipped it on myself and I said, like, what is it in me that's causing me to be with people like this? And then I realized, like, the things I didn't see, I was blinded by love, so I didn't see how he was pretty much the entire relationship. I just thought he was stoic. I thought he was going through something. I mean, he had like challenges in his life, so I thought he was just going through something. So like when things started to get strained between us, we never fought or anything, which is actually really common with avoidance. Like they don't tend to like have a, you know, knock out, drag, what is it, knock down, drag out sort of fight with you. We never fought, and which now I see as a red flag. But I realized like his stoicism was just him detaching from me, and I didn't realize it at the time, because he said every time I'd ask, are we okay, is everything okay, he would say, yeah, I'm just going through this, and he would name off things. So like I had no idea, like this is him detaching or trying to find a way to separate himself from me, and convince himself that he didn't love me. So basically, like, I had all these realizations just way too late, like after the discard, which better late than never, right? I did text him and I tried, but with an avoidant, you can't tell them nothing. Like, they're not going to acknowledge it. It takes a lot of therapy, inner work that they're not willing to do because they can't go there for themselves. Like, the reason they're avoidant is because they can't go there. They are so afraid of processing emotions that they will just chase this honeymoon after honeymoon. So they leave a lot of people in their wake. They discard a lot of people in their lives, and it's just really an unfortunate fact. And I had to learn, like, nothing I can do or say can fix it, and there's nothing, like, it was going to be what it was going to be from the start. It was doomed to fail from the start. I just wish I had known that, you know, for a year. So I had to experience the most massive, like, ego death of my life, because here I am, like, oh, I'm a perfect partner, and I had to realize, like, bitch, this ain't about you. Like, he's going through something, like, and it kind of helped me in a way, because, like, there's nothing I could have done. I could have been the most perfect partner in the world. There's nothing I could have done about this. And even if I had known about attachment styles, without him acknowledging what he had going on, it wouldn't have been fixed, and it's still not going to be fixed. And I went through, there was like a day a couple weeks ago that I found out he rebounded into another relationship, and he has me blocked on everything, but a mutual friend told me. And I crashed out a little bit, because it's a slap in the face, mostly to my daughter, because she would ask about him all the time. Like, she misses him, she misses his daughter. I miss his daughter so much. Like, that's the biggest heartbreak of all of this, is the children. But I lost my train of thought. Yeah, like, I had to experience, like, this massive ego death where I'm like, bitch, it's not about you. Like, this was kind of due from the start. Like, nothing you could have done would have done anything to affect this. And I had to really go back into my own childhood wounds and my childhood trauma. Like, I was so busy worrying about his and, like, making sense of his childhood trauma, because that avoidant attachment comes from childhood trauma. And I learned all I could about that. And I got sick of learning about it, and I'm like, it's time to reflect on myself. Like, what part did I play in this? And I realized, like, it comes from my childhood neglect and my childhood trauma, that I go after people who are incredibly emotionally unavailable, and I try to, like, acquiesce to everything they need, and they, you know, I try to walk on eggshells and just accommodate every emotion that they don't have. Like, I try to fill in the blanks for them, kind of thing. And I self-sacrifice, and I do everything I can to make the person happy, because I'm always like a step ahead as far as like trying to analyze their emotions, or, you know, what they're feeling, which is really hard to do with an avoidant, because they ain't gonna tell you. They're just gonna be stoic. So you're gonna be walking on eggshells trying to figure out what they've got going on in their head, and you're not gonna figure it out. They're gonna lie about it, or they're just gonna be like, I'm all right. So like I said, I had to go back into my childhood trauma and my, you know, figure out why I have this. Why does this keep happening to me? Why do I keep encountering the same type of people? And it really is a test, and the universe will send you that test over and over until you fucking learn the lesson. So I learned I can't fix people. Like, their trauma is their trauma. And I needed to figure out and learn that I go for people that don't give me what I need emotionally, because I don't feel as though I'm worthy of that. And I'm repeating patterns in my childhood where I had to walk on eggshells and try to emotionally regulate other people. I know I'm rambling. It's making sense to me, and I hope you're getting value from it. So if you've ever been discarded, just know it wasn't you. Actually, in a way, if you think about it, they discarded you because you got too close. You were too understanding. You were too good of a partner. And that made them feel unsafe, because you got too close to them and got them too close to feeling emotions. And that is the thing they're most afraid of. So you should kind of wear that with pride, that you were able to unlock something in them that would be a good thing in most cases. But with an avoidant, you're shutting them down. But take pride in that, like, that you are emotionally available and you are able to deeply touch someone. But if they're not prepared to handle that, then it's going to lead to a discard. And there's nothing you can do about that. It doesn't matter what kind of empathic, understanding person you are, you're going to be discarded by an avoidant in one way or another. So yeah, and I learned that I deserve someone emotionally available, and right now I'm taking a lot of time to myself and trying to accept that from people. I've gone on dates, I'm talking to somebody, but I'm really trying to take it slow and, you know, be very cautious with my heart at the moment. But yeah, I don't wish this on anyone. It's very important for your growth, I will say. Like, I needed this to happen. I needed this for my personal growth. I had to learn this lesson, and in a way, you know, I feel sad for him, because it has to be mental torture to not be able to get close to someone, to freak the fuck out anytime someone gets too close. That has to be awful. To have to rebuild these relationships over and over has got to be maddening at a certain point. And to just be running all the time from feeling, to do all these hobbies and try to keep yourself busy at all times, to have to medicate yourself to sleep with alcohol or you know, pot, whatever. It's got to be incredibly exhausting. And I can't speak for everyone, but for my ex, he was chronically exhausted. He was chronically tired, and it's like he was running from something all the time. But yeah, my heart, like, this hurt like a bitch. This experience hurt so bad, and I am deeply traumatized, but this absolutely needed to happen. And if you're going through it, this needed to happen. There was a lesson to be learned from it. The universe was saying, bitch, you need to learn this lesson. I'm going to keep giving it to you until you learn it. Prime example, I was on and off with this avoidant for a few years, and he will not acknowledge. He was actually a fearful avoidant, so he would come back around. They usually dismiss avoidance once they discard you. That's the end of that. Like, they're too prideful to reach out. But my fearful avoidant, I was on and off with him for years, and he was pretty much watching me all the time when I was in relationships, and he would wait until I was out of them to reach out and try to reinitiate contact. And the time before last, we dated for 3 months, and I noticed that I was doing that thing where I was pursuing and I was chasing, and I was like a sad puppy who couldn't, I was waiting on a text, waiting by the phone. Like, his moods and his lack of contact was affecting the hell out of my nervous system. So anyway, he reached back out after the breakup like clockwork, and basically just tried to, how do I describe this? He wanted me and he wanted to see me, but then he would not, basically he deconstructed me in a way, like he was saying that, he was accusing me of all these things. When we saw each other for the 3 months, he ended it. He said that I talked about my ex too much, and I was like, okay, well, I wish you well. And this time when he came back around, he said, oh, it wasn't just that, it was you were talking to guys on dating apps. And then he started accusing me of seeing my next boyfriend after him. He wasn't my boyfriend. We had seen each other for 3 months and he broke it off. But the guy I dated after that, I had met him like a few weeks after, and we had started dating like really quickly. And he accused me of being with that guy while he and I were talking, which was not true. Anyway, he went on to say, like, and after all that, I still like you. And I'm like, you don't have to. Like, this was the test. Like, the discard happened, and then the universe was like, bitch, I'm going to test you one more time to make sure you learned. So, like I said, he reaches out and all that, and basically tries to, break me down in a way, but still wanted me to, like, be involved with him. It was weird. So he said, and after all that, I still like you for some reason. And I said, well, don't. So don't. I'm like, well, maybe you shouldn't then. And we continued to discuss it, and I said, like, what are we doing? Like, what is this for? Or I don't remember the exact conversation, but I basically ended up saying, I think we should just keep this where it's at, like, keep a friendship or whatever, and, I wish you luck, I wish you continued health or whatever. And he said, you're lame anyway, and blocked me. So that was the test, because he was also an avoidant, and whether he wants to admit it or not, he's probably going to see this video at some point. And that was, like, I feel like I passed that test. Because I'm not that person anymore. I'm not going to chase anyone. I'm not going to seek validation from anyone. I'm not going to give validation to anyone who's not validating me, because that's ultimately what the avoidants want. They need praise. They need validation to feel complete. And once your supply or your utility runs out, i.e. like the honeymoon phase is over, they need a fresh supply of that validation. It's almost like narcissism, but not quite. I believe that some people have a touch of narcissism with their avoidance. That was another thing my ex that discarded me said he can't feel empathy, which I believe at the time he couldn't feel empathy. Like, when he was shut down like that, he could not feel anything but panic, and I believe that fully. Anyway, I'm just rambling. All that to say, if you've been discarded, it does get better. It's one of the most painful lessons that you'll ever learn. This feels like, I feel like I'm grieving a death. Like, that is how bad it is. Like, I'm still dreaming about it. It is so incredibly painful. You'll question your self-worth. And then one day, like that, you'll just be like, like, once you learn about avoidance, it's just gonna hit you one day. Like, this was not my loss. Like, there was somebody who's missing something, like, deeply human, and it's really sad for them that they lost me, because I showed up as myself, and I was everything that that person needed, but they just couldn't receive it. So that's what I want you to take away from this. If this happened to you, this was written in stone. There's nothing you could have done about it. You were a great partner. You were a great partner, and that's the reason they ran. So, rant over. I know it was all over the place, but I hope somebody got something useful out of it.